say.
Gotcha.
Because he's got a positive attitude.
Yeah.
And he always seems to be making sure people do their best. But he'll be missed. He was at the game Sunday, cheering everyone on. So so that was
That's
good.
crazy. Even though he was just released.
Yeah,
I
they
didn't
did
know
say
that.
this weekend he's going to announce what team he's going to go to.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Yeah, he'll get on somewhere.
I did
for
hear
sure.
Eagles maybe one. So that'd be a good one for
Get
him.
himself a ring before
Yeah.
yeah. So good there.
Yeah. In other sports news, you may have seen, Mark Cuban.
What do you think of that?
Yeah.
The majority share.
Majority share. So he bought it for $285 million 20 years ago.
It's a heck of a 3 point what?
3.5 billion is what he sold
with
for.
a B. Say it again. B.
Yeah.
My gosh. So out of Shark Tank.
Yep.
So pulling out, this is last season on Shark Tank, and then not pulling out entirely, so he'll keep some ownership.
So they said that he still gets to keep majority stake, or he'll still get
stake.
He'll still have some stake, and then he'll get to keep basketball operations.
Yeah. Did you see that video where he got the call? Like he's out there on the court actually at the game, and he gets a call. Can you imagine getting a call for the sale of $3.5 billion? Yeah, I'd be pretty excited.
So they were saying on the news today that the family that's buying it has good ties with Las Vegas. And so they're kind of saying that there's a chance that they're buying the Mavericks so they can move them to Las Vegas.
Vegas has no NBA. They've got MLB now.
But they will have
MLB.
and they will have an NFL.
Do they have hockey?
NFL.
They have hockey? So they've got
that's,
three.
That's the missing link.
But Dallas, it's not Oakland.
How many teams does Texas have?
Move the Warriors.
2 or 3.
Don't move.
They have 2 teams.
The Warriors just moved from Oakland over to what? To San Fran, or where did they go? They moved across the bay, right? I mean, that's my understanding. And then move them to Vegas. Let Steph retire in Vegas. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then they also the other rumor is that Cuban is selling because he wants a presidential run. So we'll see what happens. So he's selling the Mavericks because of the presidential run. He's also, this is, like you said, this is the last year for Shark Tank. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of...
Is it the last year altogether, just for him? He's just pulling out.
He's pulling out. So I think he's kind of getting his ducks in a row.
Right.
To be able to do it if he wants to. Who knows? He has been political in the past.
Oh, so. Extremely. So, I mean, what do you... that's a different show, maybe. I don't know.
But we'll see.
I didn't know
tuned.
that. Yeah, right. He'll start in Indiana, so...
Hey, IU boy.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Anything else you have on the list? We've got about another minute or so.
So there's a lot of things going on this weekend.
Okay.
So Friday we've got the Parade of Lights.
Yes.
Excited about that. We've got the Jeep getting ready to get lights put on it and everything. And
we're decorating a few things. So we're not just doing the truck. We've also got the Knox County Community Foundation, the two who run that have really put together, or they've taken charge of all of the pots throughout downtown.
Oh, cool.
So we took over one of the pots around Patrick Henry, and then we're not doing the standing out there at the park and doing that.
Right.
So we're decorating a pole out there. So we've got a lot to decorate. My wife has a lot to decorate.
Your wife? Well, she's very good at it.
She
has 8 trees at her house that all look like they
I
came
think
from
it's
Hallmark
about
movies.
right.
So we're good.
Right. We don't have a Harry Potter one, though. That was a good TikTok.
Thank you.
Yeah. The parade on Friday.
Parade, we've got the First City Chris Kingmart. How do you say?
Chris Kendall.
Chris Kendall.
Yeah.
Okay. And then along with the Frosty Mug pub crawl, which you're involved in there.
Yeah, so I'm not in town that night, but my team is D-Dean, which is nice. So we were asked by a couple of the folks working with that if we'd go ahead and do that, and I thought that was great.
That's a great idea. Because I'm sure there'll be some people that need some rides.
That thing keeps growing. Yeah. I don't let the lack of likes on the Facebook page or the event page point you in the wrong direction, because I think it's really growing. I know from Rotary, Gary Hackney's really been the driving force with doing. I think we're going to have a tent up at the Chris Kendall selling sausages. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but it's going to be fun. It's a great thing that Ann Pratt has been the driving force behind the whole thing, I think. So
it's a very cool event for the city.
Yes.
for people to do on the weekend. And I remember seeing it set up last year, and it just
She's
keeps
done
growing,
it the
like you
past
said.
several. I want to say at least 3.
Yeah.
So I could be wrong on all this, but she's doing a great job with it, and it's going to be just nice to have. You and I've talked about this for years already. Is just the stuff to do,
Right.
just having something every weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent's has a lot of things going on, especially in the holidays, to where you don't have to go out of town to do something.
Yeah.
You can stay right here and you've got it.
Exactly. Well, cool, guys. Actually, we're going to go ahead and take a break. You're listening to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Don't forget, like us and check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Just the Tips with John and Andrew, and YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. We got a channel, don't we, or something? Due to Scott. I appreciate it. We'll be right back with our guest, Keri Lane, Manager of Operations at the Pantheon here in Vincennes, Indiana.
Advertising on radio offers several advantages to make it a valuable marketing channel for businesses. Number 1, a wide reach. Radio has a broad reach, reaching millions of listeners across different demographics and geographic areas. Targeted audience. Radio stations often cater to specific demographics or target markets. It's cost-effective. Radio advertising can be more cost-effective compared to other traditional media channels like television. This makes it a viable option for businesses with smaller advertising budgets. Frequency and repetition. Radio allows for frequent and repetitive exposure to your message. Immediacy and localism. Radio provides real-time information and local content, making it a popular choice for immediate promotions and local advertising. Flexibility and creativity. Radio ads offer flexibility in terms of ad duration and format. This flexibility allows for creative storytelling, engaging jingles, or even celebrity endorsements, depending on the objective and budget of the campaign. Mobile and on-the-go audiences. Radio is a mobile medium, often consumed while people are commuting, driving, or engaging in other activities. This means your message can reach a captive audience during key moments when they're receptive to hearing about products, services, and promotions. And lastly, emotional connection. Radio has the ability to create an emotional connection with listeners through voice, sound effects, and music. Well-crafted radio ads can evoke emotions and capture attention, enabling advertisers to establish a deep connection with their target audience. To learn more about advertising with TOC Direct Media, visit originalcompany.com.
Folks, welcome back to Just the Tips with John and Andrew, guys. We are excited to introduce our next guest, friend of both John's and mine, one of the top hype women here in Knox County that is ready to move and shake on anything to benefit this community, right? We have the Manager of Operations at the Pantheon here in Vincennes, Miss Keri Lane.
Hello.
What is happening?
Welcome.
Hey guys.
So you said you come here a lot.
I do.
It's like you know what you're doing in this place,
Sort
right?
of. I've gotten pretty comfortable in this chair.
Yeah,
Do me a favor. One thing Ed does not always ask, because he sees a lot of the usual suspects. I mean, you're very active and everything. But tell our 100,000 listeners. I beat you to it.
Oh, I thought there were more than that.
There may be. I mean, we've been at it for a while.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Where you from,
Okay.
how you got going with what you're doing right now.
Okay, so I'll have to rein this in because I could go all day. No, so I moved here when I was 15, and I've pretty much lived here ever since I was 15, besides 2 years. And I'm married. I have 4 kids. My background is really not in business whatsoever. My background, degrees in education, and I did social work for most of my adult career. And this was kind of just one of those right place, right time kind of things. I was wanting a little bit of a change, and it just turned up. And a little bit of a funny story, when I was in my job interview, I had read the job description, and I'm like, man, that all sounds very much like me, and things I would enjoy doing and things I would be good at, but I've never really done any of it. And when I was in my job interview, I said, full disclosure, I don't have any experience doing any of this, but I'm a mom of 4, and I've been running a household for over 20 years, so I'm pretty sure I can run this office. And that must have sealed the deal, because I've been here a year and a half.
So funny story, I came into Pantheon, I don't know, a couple months ago, and her son was in there, which, I mean, this is all cool because we both have kids. We get it. And running a business, we understand. I mean, I don't know how many times my kids have been up there at the office because it's just, I'm sorry, if I'm going to be here, I've got to be, they've got to be here too.
Right.
And her son was there, and then yesterday, one of her 4 was there as well. I said, girl, I tell you, you know, it's going to be one of the 4, right?
Just about, yeah.
Well, sure, but it's a great environment up there to be able to do something like that as well.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's super important for employers to understand that when you're employing somebody who has children, if you can be flexible with them in their parenting duties, you're going to get a much better quality of employee.
Yeah, very true. So right before the Pantheon, where were you at? So I saw, are you still working with Casa a little bit?
No.
Okay.
No, I worked there, it's been a couple years ago. So right before I started at the Pantheon, I worked for Generations.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Up
Yes.
at VU is where the offices
There,
are.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did, most of my background was in like child welfare. So like I worked for the Department of Child Services for 5 years, and then I did service provider work. I worked for CASA, switched gears a little bit at Generations, still kind of social services.
Yeah.
But
Is that where you got your idea for your Halloween costumes?
you know what? Hey,
Impressive. I don't know if you heard me talk about that, but whenever they said, do you not know who that is? And you were going at it. This was last year. Last year you were out there with the cane or whatever you had.
yeah. Oh, you're referring to my friend Gladys.
I hadn't met Gladys.
It wasn't her.
It was
No.
not.
People make that mistake.
Look a lot alike.
Yeah.
Just not.
I mean,
it's not the hair. It's not the.
Is it the wrinkles?
Yeah, no. I thought it was awesome. You had a good time.
Yeah. Gladys is a good time. She had a really good time this year.
Yeah.
So
Good
yeah.
for Gladys.
You know, there are people that
I had a babysitter named Gladys.
like go into Halloween kind of half, and then there's some that go in all in, and she definitely goes all
That'd
in.
be Skipper's poop stain. That was the year before. That was pretty good.
That was the same year.
That was pretty. Oh,
Yeah.
that was. That's
Yes.
right.
Oh yeah, that was. I'll tell you, this whole Gladys thing, that was not a plan. I was going to be an old lady, and I walked into the doors of the Pantheon that day dressed in this costume. And I don't know if it's some inner demon that I have that just came out, but all of a sudden I just took on this persona, and people were just laughing. And so I was like, well, I've just got to keep this up.
Right.
And so it was not a
hard not to
plan
run
ahead
with it at
thing,
that
but
point.
yeah.
But I thought that was a great introduction. I know we really didn't meet that night, but I was like, I like Keri. She's a great time. So with the Pantheon, you seem to have a good time.
I do.
So what all is going on? Can you tell people a little bit about, we've got a couple different segments. Tell people about what the Pantheon does.
Sure, yeah. So kind of, I guess, the official title of what we do there, we are a co-working space and a business incubator. And kind of another little bit of information, when I was going to interview for this job, of course, I said I don't have any background in business. I went on the website and I was so intimidated by those words. I don't know what any of that means. And I'm on Google, like dictionary.com, you know, what is all of this? I had no idea. And I think sometimes if you're not somebody that's already in business, it can be a little overwhelming and intimidating to hear some of the words that we use. But really all it means is we're a resource center. If you need help with a small business, be it you're in the ideation stage, you've been in business for 10, 20 years, it doesn't matter. Come to us and we can help you get hooked up with the resources you need. So that's the business incubation. And then co-working is really just what it sounds like. We all know what a coworker is. We have them at our jobs, right? But if you're somebody who owns a business, you work from home, you don't have coworkers,
That's right.
You're sitting at home by yourself. And so our space is designed to be a collective office space. I always tell people it's like going to the library. You pick which spots you like, you sit and work for the day, and you pack up and go home. So you get a membership and you come in and you work whenever you want, and then you have coworkers. And the really great thing is you get to build connections with people and network with people and collaborate that you never would have gotten to before if you're working from home or you're just sitting down at the coffee shop, and it gives you that professional environment as well.
Keri, I have a friend who just sold a dealership, and he's doesn't have anything to do, really lonely, would like to get out and maybe do something.
Sure.
What would you do with him? Do you have an office for him?
I mean, it's potential.
Maybe we
There
could
is-
sponsor a little corner called the John and Casey Corner.
Sure. Hey, we've got lots of sponsorship options.
You're right.
We do, yeah.
See? I just phoned a friend.
Phone a friend.
I appreciate it. I like the idea of what you guys do at the
interesting.
Pantheon, and one note that I have written down is it's a great way for like-minded individuals to sit down in a business setting, and it's one of those things where if someone comes in as an entrepreneur, you guys are able to say, I have a guy for that. And you're able to connect them with someone else that's in that same field or similar that can help out, and that's what's great about it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I love to see, and I have seen so much of that this past year. We've got a couple of videos that we had made by one of our coworkers who is an entrepreneur, Matt Ramsey. He owns Optiviz Media. He's made a couple videos for us to highlight that. So one example, had a guy come to me back in January of last year. He works remotely, and that's how it started. And then he comes to me, so he got a membership, he's working remotely. He comes to me and he says, hey, do you know anybody, I've got kind of a small business on the side and I need some products photographed. Do you know somebody that does product photography? And I said, yeah, we've got another member here who is a amazing product photographer, and he does amazing video content. So I hooked Eric Walters up with Matt Ramsey, okay? And then Eric said, I need some branding. I need a logo for my business, Timely Souls. I don't know if you guys have heard of Timely Souls.
We have.
We both know Eric pretty well. Yeah.
Okay. So then I think Matt maybe in conversations said, okay, here's another coworker we have, D'Artagnan Abney. He is really great at branding. And then Eric also needed somebody to manage social media. Enter your next coworker, Christopher Kaufman, owner of Impact Marketing Services. So you have all of these guys who all have a different skill set, but who all work together to launch Eric's business, Timely Souls.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
We will talk a little bit more about what's it called, the small business. It's is it a coalition out of Evansville?
Oh, the Small Business Development Center.
Yes, because they come up. You've got people from Purdue and from Evansville that come in and help businesses.
We do.
So can you tell people a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the organization you're referring to is the Indiana Small Business Development Center.
Yeah. So
they are an organization statewide. We work with the office out of the Evansville region. And we've got, currently right now we have one advisor that comes up once a month. And she has office hours here. She takes appointments for people. And she basically sits down and they just come to her and they say, wherever they're at in business. Yeah. And she'll sit down and she'll walk them through what it is they need to do to get to whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, be it launching a business and getting an LLC started. I need help with marketing. I need a business plan. I want to expand and grow. And we have another local business who is not even a Pantheon member. You guys might know Kaylee Decker, Flourish Integrative Health.
Okay.
Kaylee has been working with Julie for over a year, and Julie helped her a lot with that expansion that she just did.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
I apologize. I'm
No,
not
you
always
had
the
a
best
break.
with time. I
get
know. Guys, you're listening to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Don't forget, like us and check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Guys, we'll be right back with our guest, Keri Lane, Manager of Operations at the Pantheon here in Vincennes, Indiana.
From the WAOV News Center, I'm Tom Lee reporting. Paving and projects are on the mind of Vincennes City Engineer John Sprague in his monthly address to the Vincennes Board of Works. Sprague says work continues toward getting bids for $2 million in new city paving work coming up next year. Also, Sprague reminding everyone some work is still underway on Washington Avenue. The next phase of work will require the closure of Washington Avenue next year from Niblack Boulevard to Emerson Avenue. Drivers will once again use 6th Street to detour that work. A Vanderburgh County homeowner shot a trespasser Monday in the northeast part of the county after the man, who reportedly is from the Vincennes area, attacked him in the driveway. The man has not been identified.
The unidentified person was shot in the leg and taken to an Evansville hospital. Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office says the man has refused to cooperate with investigators. And a book signing is set for today for a new publication. The local sports-based author, retired teacher and coach Robert McCambron, will have copies of the book Walter Johnson Had No Idea, A Life with Baseball, available at the session at the library building at 502 North 7th. More at WAOVAM.com. I'm Tom Lee.
Mostly higher markets today, but only a robust move in wheat. This is Hoosier Ag Today and the Wednesday closing farm market report. Corn and beans back and forth between up and down. Overall, a pretty steady day and mixed at the closing corn. December 4.49 3/4, down 1 penny 3/4. March contract up 2 1/4 at 4.75 3/4, up 1/2 cent. January beans 13.47 and March 13.65 1/2, up 3/4 as the trade continues to eyeball South American, specifically Brazilian weather. Has the wheat market found a bottom? Kansas City very strong. Chicago December wheat 5.56, up 12 1/4. And the meat's up too. February live cattle 173.47, up 65. February lean hogs 70.10, up $1.07. I'm Andy Eubank, Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.
Vincennes, Reveille, and North Knox both go down to defeat. I'm Tom Lee with the WAOV Radio Sports Beat. It was Vincennes, Reveille falling on the road to Oblong Palestine, Hudsonville in Hudsonville, 66-51. Isaac Cotter paced Steel and 3 Patriots with 14. Brody Schatz had 12. Clay City defeated North Knox 81-52. Braxton Yeti paced North Knox with 16. Clay City won the JV 51-46. Evansville Christian 69. Castle 59 last night. Also Jasper over Bossy 64-58. Heritage Hills defeated Perry Central 65-32, and it was White River Valley 44. Duggar Union 13. In girls hoops, 3A Gibson Southern ran out to a 25-7 first quarter lead and won 66-35. Alice is playing without Ari Gherkin, who's out with a wrist injury. I'm Tom Lee.
Saturday, December 2nd, Santa will be at Memmering Motorplex. Bring the family to see Santa and get free pictures. Santa will be in the Memmering Motorplex Nissan building this Saturday, 10 to noon. Don't miss pictures with Santa this Saturday at Memmering Motorplex on Hart Street in Vincennes.
Don't forget to nominate a local high school athlete for the Tri-State Orthopedics WZDM Athlete of the Week. Go to WZDM.com, click on the Sports tab, then go to Athlete of the Week. Scroll down to the form, fill it out, and send it in. It's that easy.
The WAOV forecast now from the Brian Stevens Erie Insurance Weather Center. Sunny skies today and a high near 54 for tonight. Partly cloudy, low of 35 and a 50-50 chance of rain for tomorrow. High of 57, better chance of rain Friday with a high near 58. Join us right here for the morning chat with Ed Ballinger each weekday morning at 10 on WAOV.
Welcome back to Just the Tips with John and Andrew, guys. We're here with our guest, Miss Keri Lane, manager of operations at the Pantheon here in Vincennes, and a lot of people the answer is they just don't always know what's going on up there, and there's a lot going on up there. Mm-hmm. And you've got how many members do you have now?
Did you see my note?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? I wrote down some stats.
I'm not blind, but I honestly am not
Nice.
a copier. I never did that in school.
I did prepare. Yeah, so we do call them members.
Okay.
So I always tell people this can be a little complicated because technically, if you look at our software that we use, we have 81 members. The thing with that is not all of those are what we would consider active members. We have a lot of members who are kind of, I guess if you want to say honorary, like a lot of people who are sponsors and donors for us, they can have access to memberships, and then if they need to use the building after hours or what have you, they can. So we may have some of those people listed, but they're not active co-working members. And so I thought it would be maybe interesting just to give you an idea So I kind of went through and looked at some of our reporting stats, and we have an average of 14 people every day.
Okay.
Of course, that varies. You come in on Fridays, a lot of times it's like a ghost town, and you might come in some days and there's 20 people in there. You just don't ever know. But I would say, and I should have looked at this, but like people that we have in there on an average basis a couple of times a week, you're probably looking somewhere between 20, 25 people that come and go on a regular basis.
Right.
So how long can they be a member?
I mean, at this point, we don't really have term limits.
Okay.
You think about the concept of incubation, and, that's kind of our goal, right? But we understand that not everybody's their business is not gonna have the same trajectory.
That's right.
And we have some people who are remote workers as well, not just entrepreneurs. So if you're looking at somebody who's a small business owner, it may not be in their business model at any point to add employees or to move out into a community space or those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess when you look at it that way, they could essentially benefit from the use of our space forever.
Exactly.
So the guy that maybe is working from home but is tired of the dog
He
barking.
knows he
in
can't
the
get
back-
anything done at home.
Right, in the
if he
back of
stays there,
the Zoom meeting, or something.
Yeah.
He needs a place to go. The
Yes.
Pantheon is a place he could go.
Yeah. And I feel like we definitely have more entrepreneurs that operate their business kind of out of our space than we do remote workers, but we are gaining some traction. One of our first members and first remote workers that we had, Drew Gerritsen, and he always tells the story about how he had to work remotely out of the laundry room, and that just wasn't working out for him anymore, which is why he upgraded.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually just added a new member this week who's a remote worker. Or, well, that's not true. She's an office. I think she works from home.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess she's a remote worker.
Yeah.
Sorry, that I just had to walk my way through that. But yeah,
It's all
yeah.
right. We were with you.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so these individuals that you were talking about, when you pieced together Eric Walters' business, these individuals, is their goal to ultimately get a physical location or to move out, or do they discuss these goals with you? I guess I'm asking a couple parts here.
Sure.
As to, okay, we obviously want to grow our business. And, I can't imagine in 5 years that we'd want to tell our large portfolio of customers that we're just located here on Main Street in an incubator.
Right.
So, do you guys have any thoughts on that, or do you
Yeah.
have any progression or idea? Because I know, like you said, every business is different.
Correct.
But I didn't know if there was a goal for some of these folks.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to the offices, we've got the offices in there. Those are more of what we kind of start looking at incubating. When somebody gets an office and then moves out into the community, which we're still fairly early, so we
Very
haven't
much
seen
so.
a lot of that yet. We do have some things, but that's not necessarily something that we have a term limit on, or with the offices we did kind of say we will do an annual review.
You have several.
I want to say there's 12 in total.
Okay.
Several of those.
Second floor and
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got the glass offices downstairs, and you would think this is something I would know off the top of my head.
Sorry.
How many of those we actually have, but without closing my eyes and going around and counting, I think it's 12 total. But we've got 3 on Main Street, and then we've got all the glass offices in the middle area, and then there are actually 2 on the second floor as well. So
where are you putting the parking lot?
that's great. We've got a really nice roof. There has been some talk about it. I don't spread rumors.
I love our downtown. I really do. But that is the toughest part.
It is.
It is, and
I'm not saying when I come down there that I really have that much difficulty.
Right.
On a rainy day, whoop-de-doo, I've got to go ahead and park 1 block over.
Yeah.
And, but ultimately, it's not the end of the world. But if you work there every day, I can only imagine.
yeah, and so that has become something that has kind of become a recurring theme, because we want to try our best to have our members show respect to our surrounding businesses who, maybe somebody just needs a parking space for 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
We don't want our people who are coming into our space working for 8 hours to be hogging the only 4 spots
Yeah.
on our block. Or, you know what I mean? And so we try to encourage our members to park off street, side streets. You've got the city lot right down by Old Chicago, which is a
yeah, that's right.
block. And thankfully too, if you come back this way, you go on Busserin and those side streets there, you can usually find some parking. We have, and it's hard too, like if we have meetings, sometimes we'll have different corporations rent out conference rooms, and they've got 10 people come to a meeting and they're from out of town and they don't know. So I just have to be very diligent about all of my communications with people who are coming into the building. Please don't park in front of a neighboring business for 8 hours.
Keri Lane, manager of peacekeeping in downtown.
I'm the
Good
parking
Lord.
police.
My gosh.
When people say, what do you do as the operations manager? I'm like, it's all inclusive. I'm the IT guy, I'm the trash, I'm the coffee, events, parking, things that you never even realized.
So do people tell you they're coming in that day, or do people just show up? And also, along with that, everyone, when they have their certain spot, they kind of like to sit there.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
do
not
they
just
say, hey, I'm coming in today? So that, Joe has this spot right here, or whatever.
So, no, it's basically just first come, first
You're new
serve.
here, aren't you?
Yeah, right, yeah.
I just want
I sat
to...
there for a long time.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know we're up to 5. Hello, all of my 5 listeners, 5 watchers. I know. So no, it's just first come, first serve. And like I said, we do have a number of people who are there on a pretty regular basis, and they definitely have their spots. And along with that, they have their coffee mugs.
Oh.
And
Dang, Sheldon Cooper up there.
I recently discovered that I was going to have to get some community mugs, because there were a few instances where we would have a guest in the building, and they would get a cup of coffee and they would pull from like one of the members' mugs. And the member comes in and they're like, have you seen my coffee mug? And I'm like, oh, the one that guy's using. So no, people definitely have their spot. So it's always kind of funny if we get like a guest that comes in and they sit down in a spot. I'm like,
It's just like the gym. Whenever we were working out at like whatever in the morning, and people would walk in, you're like, you're new here.
Yeah.
I used this area at 5.
Go right here, please.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But no, luckily our members they're pretty easygoing. So
What do you have coming up? You have several events that you guys are trying to do, different things you're trying to promote, all to benefit the community, all to benefit up-and-coming businesses and entrepreneurs. What do you have?
well, listen, I'm going to tell you.
Laundry list?
We have the least.
She's got like a 4-page booklet
It's
here,
not.
size
It's not.
8 font.
I will tell you.
We've only got 10 minutes left.
I'm happy to report. It has been very busy the past couple months, and we have had a lot of events.
Yeah.
This month is light. This doesn't look light, but we started a new once a month program for writers. We're actually not doing that this month because
Because you're on strike. Gotcha.
No, because
I've heard that's a thing.
Yeah.
no, because the manager has ADHD,
Yes, right, there we
and
go.
she forgot that it was the Parade of Lights on the first Friday.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
they're not going to meet. We do our Design and Donuts every month. We do our Camera Club every month. We have a free co-work day every month. So those are kind of just some of the recurring things. Our entrepreneur in residence hours, and then our business advisor hours. Those are just things, those are regular. Every month we do those.
Yeah.
As far as some of our special events that we do I need to quit
Nope,
talking for a
quit.
second?
You're fine.
Okay,
I apologize.
okay.
I got the nod for like 2 minutes.
Okay, so this month is, we don't have a lot of special. We had a 5-part series, mini marketing series. We had a 6-part year-long series. So we had a lot of different events. But like I said, this month it's a little light with the holidays. We didn't want to try to do a lot. So
Are you open
yeah.
for Friday evening? I mean, because is it open 24/7 to anybody who's a member?
Correct.
So ultimately, they just key in and come in.
Yep.
But are you doing any type of open house for the fact that, again, it's a beautiful facility? What was done with that place is insane. So Friday night with the parade, all the people who will be down there, do you do anything for that?
That's a great question.
Are you going to be Mrs. Claus?
Mrs. Claus, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Bring out the workout, Mrs. Claus.
Workout.
Yeah, wasn't that what were you this year?
This year, well, Gladys.
What was Gladys?
Gladys, she heard there was a really good jazzercise class, and so she was dressed full ready to go do jazzercise, and then she showed up at the event, and it wasn't jazzercise. So she was embarrassed.
I love it. Gladys is welcome anytime.
Gladys.
We will take a break, and then we'll come
Okay.
back with the goods, where we're going to be kicked off
You got it.
very quickly. because she's got the droid. All right, so guys, you're listening to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Don't forget, like us and check us out on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. What is it? YouTube archives at Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Guys, we'll be right back with Keri Lane, Manager of Operations at the Pantheon here in Vincennes, Indiana.
Hi, I'm Dwight Freeney, and my friend Eli is alive today thanks to someone who said yes to organ donation. Eli and his dad love the Indianapolis Colts and have been going to games since Eli was very young. And in 2021, they were named the Colts Superfans of the Year. When Eli was just 12 years old, he received a liver transplant that saved his life because someone just like you said yes to being an organ donor.
I get to play football, I get to play basketball, I get to ride a bike, I get to do all this amazing stuff that makes me happy.
His story and many others like his are why I have teamed up with Indiana Donor Network and Donate Life Indiana to help end the wait for life-saving organs. You can help. Say yes to being an organ donor next time you are at the BMV and give someone like Eli a second chance.
When people hear our story, right, they feel they
Inform and entertain. That's what we do right here every day on 97.7, 97.3, and 1450 WAOV. Each weekday, join us from 6 to 10 for Bob and Tom. Also join us for the morning chat with Ed Ballinger from 10 to 11:30. Following that, midday edition from 11:30 until just afternoon. After midday edition, it's Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins until 3 o'clock. Then it's our local show starting at 3 with the Monday Matinee with Dennis Daly. Mark and Mark on Tuesdays. Join us for legal news and views on Thursdays and the Peppers podcast on Fridays. Sean Hannity is yours from 4 until 7. It's Dave Ramsey from 7 until 10. Then join us for America at Night from 10 until 1 the next morning. And then it's the Paranormal with George Noory and Coast to Coast AM from 1 till 5 a.m. right here, WAOV. The WAOV forecast now from the Brian Stevens Erie Insurance Weather Center. Sunny skies today and a high near 54 for tonight. Partly cloudy, low of 35 and a 50-50 chance of rain for tomorrow. High of 57, better chance of rain Friday with a high near 58. Join us right here for the morning chat with Ed Ballinger each weekday morning at 10 on WAOV.
Folks, welcome back to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Guys, we're here to wrap things up and to do what?
We got the quick fire round
with Miss Keri Lane, Manager of Operations at the Pantheon here in Vincennes. Let's give her the goods.
Let's do it.
What you got?
Well, so our 100,000 listeners already know the first two questions I'm going to ask, and she's already answered the first one.
I know.
But I'm going to ask it anyway because I want everyone to know what she says. So, are you an iPhone or Android user?
Android for life.
Oh, why?
Because that's just what I know.
Did you start out with it and now you haven't? You just don't want to change?
Yeah, and when my daughter got a phone, she wanted an iPhone, and so I've had some exposure, and I'm like, there's no reason at this point to have to learn a whole new system.
Yeah.
Nope.
There's just not.
I'm the same way when it comes to Android. At one point in time, I thought, I'm going to get an Android tablet because I think, whatever, I'll change it up. Did not like it. Couldn't understand
I've had all the
Whatever.
above. I'm okay with both. The problem is like what you just said, is that you get used to one thing.
Yes.
I don't want to learn everything else.
Right.
I know the settings.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we did lose our sponsorship. I do appreciate
We
it.
lost them.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. You
we
should
hope
have
they
told
bring
me.
it.
You
We
didn't
hope they
prep
bring
me.
it back. But next question I got: would you rather call or text somebody?
Oh, that's dependent.
Okay.
That's dependent. I have no problem talking to somebody. Actually, depending on, like, if I'm at home, I'll talk to somebody on the phone, and I get more housework done in a 30-minute phone call chatting with my sister than I do the entire rest of the week.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't want to talk to you. All I need is a quick
true.
little message.
So the new question I have now is voicemails. Do you leave a voicemail when you call somebody and they don't answer, or do you just let it go and then you just send them a text and be like, hey, I called you because of this?
Again, I think that is dependent on relationship.
Okay.
Right? Because if you're my sister and I had a missed call from you, I'm just going to text you.
Right.
But if you're a guy that I've called about a sponsorship, I'm not going to shoot you a quick text because that's just not appropriate. Like, you know, I think it just depends on what your relationship is.
I do.
I do
do actually, because I don't know how to put it. I still sometimes leave a voicemail, but I've found myself more and more just for like a
reassurance.
I don't know, like it's there. I know it's in print. They see what
I've stopped the voicemails. I just text them. Like
the
if it goes to
most
voicemail, I just text them.
Just immediate text.
I can see that actually.
But I hear you that you lose kind of a personal touch. They don't get to hear the voice, maybe.
Yeah, but I think too that can be good because we have so much with the spam calls.
Right, sure.
And if I don't know your number, I'm not
and
answering
even
you.
in Vincennes, yeah.
And so I have done that before. Just a quick text. Hey, this is Keri Lane from the Pantheon. Just letting you know. You know that way they know. Hey, this is somebody I should actually check the voicemail.
Right. This son of a gun, no matter how close he is with you, would still send the. I'm in the middle of a meeting. If you can actually text, what would it say?
Text me back or
text
call,
me because I can text right now. Yeah. And I actually started utilizing that, like in meetings, that I can text, which sounds rude, meeting, but I can text a lot of times.
Sure.
You know, for
something important or whatever.
But that would be an interesting talking point. Like if you get somebody to come in there about the new business etiquette, like of texting or calling and all that stuff.
If you need us to come over there and talk about it,
you know.
I'm always taking ideas for speakers. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got it.
We can do it. But next question I got. So everyone is streaming shows and movies and everything. What show are you currently streaming?
Guys, I'm not. I don't. I hardly ever. And also back to the ADHD, I will find a show. I will binge the entire series. Yep. Right. But then it'll go weeks, months, and I don't watch anything. I will tell you, one of the shows that I've been binging, and I'm waiting on the new season to drop. It's Virgin River.
Yeah, I'm in that too.
Do you guys? No, you're not.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's the Christmas episodes are coming out pretty soon.
I know they're getting ready to drop. There's like 5 of them. Or
Hey, I'm in it.
I love it.
Yep. I don't want to admit it, but my wife's got me.
Yeah.
So
coming from a guy who talks about Hallmark movies.
Hey.
4 months out of the year.
It's very Hallmark. It's very Hallmark-esque.
It's very Hallmark. So speaking of kind of Hallmark stuff, you know it is Christmas time coming up and everything else. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh gosh, again? I'm not your typical like. I guess I don't follow the norms.
Okay.
Let me think. I don't know.
Would you rather humor or sappy? And I mean, which route would you go if you had a choice of a movie genre?
It's either going to be like a comedy or I do like me a good like romance, love, Hallmark story. That's about the spectrum right there.
So I watched Love Actually for the first time this year. I've never seen it before.
Seriously, it's like 20 years old.
I know. In case you gotta watch it, you gotta watch it. I was like, okay, so it was pretty good.
But you were at least in first grade. I mean,
right? Yeah. I was so small when it came out.
I guess I should answer. I feel like I have to answer this question. If I had to pick a movie, I would probably watch The Grinch. Okay. I like the good old original Grinch.
The original. Gotcha.
I'm not a huge movie person. It's okay. I mean, I don't mind that one, but I want a good classic Grinch.
There's a Grinch 2 coming out with Jim Carrey.
Is it really?
The Marine. Yeah.
Okay.
So my next question goes along with Christmas. What's your favorite Christmas song?
Oh, I do have a favorite Christmas song.
All right.
It's the classic of the Queen Mariah, All I Want for Christmas Is You.
There you go.
I will blare that in the parade.
That's right.
Multiple like that, and then go ahead.
So my next question along with that is when is it too early to start playing Christmas music? So, like, at the Pantheon, do you guys have background music or anything?
You know,
she just said her favorite movie is going to be The Grinch.
No, we usually don't. But funny, this past weekend, we had our creative market, and we had a visit from Santa. So I had a little spot set up for Santa, and I was like, we got this giant TV on wheels. I'm going to turn on a fireplace.
Oh, there you go.
And so I turned on a nice fireplace with some Christmas tunes, and I'll just let everybody know that will be occurring every day from now until at least least Christmas, maybe on into the winter.
And he did have the best Santa in town. Because we used him with Amanda, and
Yes.
so he's phenomenal.
He is. He does a lot of hard work.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I always enjoy the Christmas music. My employees did not. I turned it on too early, and they always said, "No, turn it on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then turn it off." And I'm like, "Well, no, we're gonna do a month."
I don't know that I would want 8 to 10 hours of Christmas music for 30 days, but like I don't mind listening to Christmas music starting around Thanksgiving.
Sure.
But I don't want it 10
Get you
hours
in
a
the
day.
mood a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, I understand. Okay, next question I have: are you a early riser or a late nighter?
Okay, so man, I'm just going against all of these. Really, neither. Let me tell you, I would rather sleep in and I'd rather stay up a little late. But let's be honest, I have to get up at 5:30 so I can make it to work on time. So if you catch me up past 9:30, send me to bed, right? And since I'm in such a habit of that, and I'm old, I'm a millennial over here. It's Friday night and I don't have to get up at 5:30, but it's 9:30 and it's like, I'm about to turn in, so, but definitely, I'd definitely rather stay up late and sleep in.
Okay, all right. Last question I have, since we're short on time: if you could have any superpower, what would that be?
Oh man. I did a question of the day for a while, and this was a question of the day that I had. And my answer was teleportation. Okay. 4 kids. We live 20 minutes outside of town, running back and forth. I spend so much time in my car, guys. If I could just do like a bewitched blink and like be where I need to be with my kids and save that time.
Yep.
And vacation and whatever else. Oh my gosh.
I learned that from driving during the holiday weekend this past weekend.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Well, cool.
Well, that concludes my quickfire round. Thank you.
Okay.
Easy enough.
Wasn't too bad.
Got about a minute left. Any other shout outs, any other reminders you want to give anybody about the Pantheon or anything else that you've got going on?
Sure, yeah. I would just say definitely, if you're not on our mailing list, get on our mailing list, because we are going to be stacking up a really great list of programming events for next year. And people always say, "Oh, I didn't know about that. If I had known, I would have come." Get on our mailing list. It's super easy. Go to our website. You're going to get a box that pops up right in your face, and just sign up and get on that mailing list.
Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. Guys, thank you so much for listening today. Remember, our goal in this show is to bring business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs to our 100,000 listeners with their tips and learning moments from business. You'll hear about community happenings and events that you may be interested in, or will at least hopefully entertain you. We want to thank our guest, Keri Lane, Manager of Operations at the Pantheon here in Vincennes, for joining us today, and all of you who tuned in for the show. Please don't forget, put us on your calendars every week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. or catch us live on Facebook. Until next time, from Just the Tips,
I'm John Yoakum.
And I'm Andrew Hines. Folks, have a wonderful week.